Hi, how you doing? What's up? It's all about you. It's all about Cali. It's all about Cali.
Alex Valle,
Mr. Street Fighter!
Late 80s, you know, I started becoming age, early 90s, till this game called Street Fighter 2 came out. Yeah, as I, you know, got older and I, you know, try to find my own thing, and fighting games was it for me. I happened to be good at it because, you know, I'm playing random people, but I don't know who's good at anything, you know, just learning the ropes. Fighting games are just cool. I can control a character, I can like shoot fireballs. If I lose, it's my fault, right? When you played Street Fighter, you don't know who you're playing against, win or lose. Like, oh, a good game, or you see him mad. You get all different types of emotions, and I caught on to that. I'm like, people really get mad when they lose, because I get mad when I lose. And then some people are really nice. They're like, oh, how did you do that? And they're like, they want to know more. So you have so many various like emotions coming out of just playing this game. Like there wasn't anything like this before.
It's clutch.
We got taps?
Oh no! That was. Well, Valle is laughing right now. Look at Valle laughing right now. Oh, he's doing a dance. What is he doing?
You know, I come from a typical immigrant family, Peruvian. Me and my mom were like the very, very last to come, and you know, we're all super poor. You know, we were just trying to get by. Parents bought me some video games, and they took me to the arcades, and you know, really fell in love with like just interacting with the arcade games and the culture and stuff until I was old enough to go by myself. The arcade culture back in like the 80s, it exploded in like the 70s and 80s. It was just a place that kids can escape to and have fun. But back then, you can just step out and go to any convenience store and you might see a fighting game or any arcade game. You know, everybody now has, you know, games they can just download at their house. But if you had to go out somewhere, you can play at any given day, anybody. You just walk into your 7-Eleven or your arcade, and it can be 10 minutes of their time, and then you may see them somewhere else. And all of a sudden you spark conversations like, oh, when you're going again? That's powerful stuff. Like, what does that? That's the community aspect of it. Like, the games bring you there, but the people is what, you know, keeps you going.
Return of John Choi!
Learning Street Fighter 2, I couldn't get any special moves with anybody, so I eventually picked Chun-Li, and I was just mashing the kicks faster, and I got her kicks. I was excited. I was like, oh yes, I got something, right? I got something. And then, you know, the bigger machines, right, where like the seasoned players are, I see them throwing fireballs and stuff, and like I asked them, like, hey, how do you do that? And they're like, oh, you know, just figure it out. I was so in love with this game that I was like, okay, this guy, he picked Guile, and then he does a kick that goes upward. Like, maybe if like, and he's always crouching, maybe if I just hold down for a little bit and I up in something. And I did that with every button, and I figured out flash kick. I just grew up playing casually, and I got better casually. It took a few years, right? So Street Fighter 2 didn't play in tournaments yet. Champion Edition, I got better at the game, but still didn't play in tournaments. It wasn't until like Street Fighter Alpha 1, right, where now in 1994, 1995 is where I started to meet like some heavy hitters. I met Tao Duong. He used to play my arcade in Mission Control in Westminster. And he saw that I was, you know, doing pretty well, and he knew, like, he said, hey, you know, you're doing pretty well. Have you played at this arcade? And he introduced me to other arcades because he drove me around. He also introduced me to Mike Watson. Also introduced me to Jeff Schaefer. You have to network. You go to different arcades together, build relationships, and it just starts to become very addicting. Like, oh, I could beat the best player in this arcade, beat the best player in this, you know, random pizza parlor, because there was competition there too. Get a name for yourself, right? And it grew and grew and grew. I was able to travel more south, going to like San Diego. I met some players over there. Every region in Southern California had like their best players. And it was really fun for me to figure that out, like around 94 through 96, because it was my first time traveling that far, right? Whereas Mike and Tomo would do this all up and down California, and I had no idea like that world existed. In 95, first biggest tournament that I was confident in, it was in Las Vegas in the Circus. This is where I met John Choi, and Mike was like mentoring me at the time. You know, we were training partners. I got fourth in that tournament. Mike and John Choi were in the grand finals. I lost to Choi. That was like my first encounter with them. So I'm like, oh man. Part 2 of that was Battle by the Bay, when I fought John Choi again, and I beat him, but it was super hard. The next big tournament was me and John got invited to Midwest Championships. That's kind of where me and John connected and became real friends. I knew that if I played John more, like I play the best more often, I can only improve. And if we traveled together, we learned how to do this, like how to progress with this, in a new way. There's been a lot of strategies and techniques that I've developed over the years. And in Alpha 2, there was a technique called the Valle CC, which is the proximity guard glitch. So if somebody stands and I'm within sweep distance from them and I activate custom combo, I'm able to sweep them before they're able to block low. And I unleashed this during the grand finals versus John Choi and Battle by the Bay. See, during those times, there wasn't any hardcore techniques that you can save like that. Some people would hide like their bigger combos, or they would sandbag and pick their second tier or third tier character, and then later on they would switch to their better character. But when you're talking about techniques and manipulating the system mechanics, that's like unheard of. So, and I was one of the first to do that. And people had, just said, "Oh, that's the Valle CC." I'm like, "Okay, well, cool. We call it the Valle CC," and I just knew that was a significant strategy in Alpha 2, because that is very prevalent today. Like, you can easily catch people. It's part of the game now. If you play that, you're definitely gonna get. I get caught with it all the time, so no one's safe. In Alpha 3, I definitely learned a lot of strategies that people weren't thinking about. Utilizing the guard crush system, the way custom combos. You didn't really just have to use them for combos. You can use them for like resets. Which characters did the most like guard break damage? Like, just a lot of little intricate details people weren't thinking about year one. The Japanese community saw that. One of the ways I incorporated the VC system wasn't just in combo. I did a reset, meaning that I activated the middle custom. I would get a few chain combos into a knockdown, and then I would go for a cross up, and I would rinse, wash, repeat. And they would call that the Valle combo, even though it's not really a combo. It's like a strategy. But that was very short-lived, because custom combos that actually connect are prevalent in Alpha 3. But it was interesting to see that a player is now tied to certain strategies, and which other games are started to follow suit and stuff like that too. But certain champions in different regions that they can attach these awesome strategies to. And I was just lucky to be able to showcase these in the most. In the grand finals of the biggest events that I've entered at the time. And that game, we were really hyped and we were ready. We were more prepared. It's the most prepared I've ever been in any game at the time, at least.
He said Alex,
yeah, of course.
When Alex is at his best, I think he's got the complete package. He's got the eye of the tiger. He said it in a slightly different way, and just enough crazy, which is exactly Alex. People think it's guessing, but he's able to just inject that element of like you're never quite sure what's coming next from Alex Valle.
So now that I'm like well seasoned in tournaments, and I think I've cracked the code during the alpha era. You know, I've been able to discover new strategies and tactics than anybody at the time. I was ahead of the game in both games in a row, which is pretty unprecedented. Usually there is somebody that can stop you, and I was just bulldozing everyone. Now I catch wind that there's an official sanctioned world championships. This has never been done before. There's two qualifiers. There's a US qualifier and the Japan qualifier. And the Japanese qualifier had over 10,000 competitors in a series of qualifiers. And Daigo was the winner of that. I qualified in the US, but we had maybe like 100 plus players. And our qualifiers was the same day as the World Championship. The way that I saw it is like the Japanese champion is here. Like I can't let him see my best. V's and Ryu was my main character, and I would get by. I would beat some of the best players with like my second, third tier characters. Until I got into grand finals and I had to play against Grand Wolf. Daigo was watching, so I'm like, okay, so I have no choice. So I have to just, you know, do what I can, even though he's watching. Then we fight, right? I started doing very well early. And then he adapts. So like, I saw what he was doing. I'm like, damn, they're ahead. I had more experience than Daigo, but he had the tech. The young man's tech just beat the old guard, but that was the thing. Like we were dependent on what we knew. Right? There was like, oh, we can't just watch a video and then get inspiration like these days. These days you can watch a combo video, you can watch a match, tournament match, you can have it all lined up. It was harder for us back then, in one way. And in modern age, is everybody knows all the techniques and you have to fight against all the best at who knows all the information. So Wednesday Night Fights started as a training regimen, 2009, and this was the Street Fighter 4 era. There was an event called Bar Fights, where the best of the East Coast came down to play in an exhibition versus the best in the West Coast. And I was on the team. Justin Wong was on the team for the East Coast, but we got our ass kicked. I was really disappointed. We need better players. It can't just depend on me and some OG friends of mine that will probably retire soon. So I need to figure out a way to cultivate the next generation. I tried to invite players to my apartment and only one player came. I don't know what it was. Maybe they were intimidated to come, but they didn't want to come out. I talked to my friend Daniel Tan if we could use his garage, and it happened to fall on a Wednesday. People were playing casuals for the first few sessions, and then I'm like, no, now it's time to make a tournament simulator. So we're gonna have different pools, A through D. The way that we're gonna structure it is, if you win your pool, you get to play in like the A group. The A group is all like the best players there. The best players will only play against the best players all night. If you want to play against the best players, you got to qualify out of your pool. And we went through different venues. We went to Dave & Buster's. After that, we went to Hollywood Park Casino. We went to a ballroom, and then eventually Super Arcade, where me and Watson teamed up. And it grew to cultivate not just the players, but the talent and people that wanted to get involved. It was many people's first experience with just the production side of putting these things together. How to run a bracket, how to use a tripod, a camera, how to stream. After Super Arcade, it moved on to Esports Arena. Wednesday Night Fights grew to a premium weekly tournament. It was a great time, man. It was a great time. And unfortunately, COVID hit and the venue had to close down. And Wednesday Night Fights still runs today, but it lives online.
All right, guys, welcome to Wednesday Night Fights 2021. It's time for episode 1. Still staying there. Oh, he got him! And Hokuto takes it! Oh, that was so far!
Or too many more of those. He goes for the level 3 after the minus frames, thinking Chris would try something. I respect the gambit, but Chris CCH not only takes the tournament, but I believe qualifies for Capcom Cup in the process.
So Level Up is a video and events production company. Longtime friend of mine, Jimmy Wynn, visited me in one of my Wednesday Night Fights training sessions and really enjoyed what I was doing with the scene and had a discussion with me. It's like, is this something that you'd want to expand upon, or, you know, we should talk. We were just in the infancies of planning events and utilizing Wednesday Night Fights as like a stepping stone into creating other events. Every week I started my grind with Wednesday Night Fights, and then eventually we had a lot of different exhibitions and we try to make unique events. So we got more traction on that. And eventually the new version of Street Fighter 4 was going to come out. Capcom contacted us to say, hey, you guys have been doing a great job in, you know, creating these events, and, you know, you guys are trusted members of the community. How would you guys like to stream Super Street Fighter 4 exhibition with like Daigo and Justin Wong? And we're like, where do we sign up?
Corner pressure here. Wow, at the end of the throw. What a match. Oh no! Right down to the last section. I don't know about that. Oh my God! Oh my God! That is it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It just kept escalating. NorCal is doing NorCal Regionals and Choi is running it, so we should do SoCal Regionals.
5 years and I'm still damn hype.
SCR was a huge success. That was where Takedo did his infamous Akuma pose. I had a really classic match with Daigo.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
No, too far.
Looking for the ultra. Yeah, just out of range for that to work. That would have been hot.
Daigo Umehara just eating up clock right now.
Yep, only 9 seconds left. You got to do something quickly.
Oh! Catches him.
Oh, man.
Daigo!
Right there at the end. What a great match. Let's get a round of applause for that.
That
was a great match.
That is definition.
That was amazing.
Of high level play right there. That should go.
Amazing.
That should go into the Street Fighter like school books right there.
That is one of my favorite matches all weekend.
A lot of this wouldn't have been possible without Jimmy spearheading everything. We pioneered the online portion of the tours, and we started with the Capcom Pro Tour. We've kickstarted their online qualifiers. Then we also did the year 1 of Tekken World Tour online. We did Injustice, we did Mortal Kombat. This was where the scene was going, because it's really hard for up-and-coming players to travel and not get the opportunities, and they're really good. Some of the best players in the world come from online. If there was no online qualifiers, I don't think as many people would be interested as it is today.
Alex Valle grabbing it with the Ultra 2. Oh my! Is this not going to be enough quite yet? But he's right there. What's the follow-up? And it just overheads him. Alex Valle sending Bachan in the losers bracket. Alex Valle.
My God! Just like that, Mr. Street Fighter shows he came here to play.
You know, I don't know exactly when the community started calling me Mr. Street Fighter. I didn't call myself that. That would be too pretentious of me to even think about it. I've been playing Street Fighter, you know, for as longer than most players. I've been very successful in like the retro versions of Street Fighter, and I can hang with the new, with the modern players too. So I've been a mentor for a long time. I've always appreciated the support of the players going to my events, but at the same time, I'm giving them an opportunity to get sponsored, look for new avenues if they want to be a part of this too. So it's much more than just playing. It's being a part of this community.